Hello, everybody. So I'm going to give everybody a second to kind of join in if they can. I just want to say welcome to everybody to the first Wellness Wednesday of February. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 self-love languages. So, and everybody's kind of familiar with the 5 love languages from Chapman. And so today we're going to talk about how we can translate those love languages into self-care. Because that's something that everybody needs, is a little self-care once in a while. So using this knowledge to kind of figure out what's going to work best for you and help you get the most out of your self-care time. So we're going to go ahead and start. So like I said, pretty much everybody knows Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. And so you can probably list them out as well, but they are physical touch, acts of service, gift giving, quality time, and words of affirmation, okay? But Chapman doesn't really explore the way that our love languages can translate into self-care, right? So what your self-love language is isn't necessarily going to be what your love language is. So your love language is basically how you show others that you care for them. But self-love language, it can be kind of different because it's how you show yourself that you care for yourself. So it's really important to go over this kind of thing because it's important for you to understand the ways that your body and mind react to different types of self-care, so that you're best able to utilize your time and your resources into cultivating a self-care routine that's going to work best for you. So today we're going to go through the 5 categories and we're going to translate them into self-love and self-care practices. Okay. So first up, we're going to go over the physical self-love. So if your self-love language is physical, that means that you prioritize self-care that makes your body feel good. So it's important for you to focus on touching, pampering, moving, and appreciating your body, right? So some examples of this physical self-care love language could be taking a nap, cooking a meal for yourself, working out, wearing comfy clothes, or getting a massage. And those are just some examples. Again, if you find something that works for you, that's all that matters. Next up, we're going to talk about the acts of service, self-love. So this is the one that a lot of people kind of have a hard time translating into self-care, because acts of service by design is you committing acts for other people, right? Showing them that you care. But this translates into focusing on acts of service that you're going to be taking practical steps for yourself to make your life run more smoothly. And so by that definition, sometimes that means that focusing on acts of service for yourself means sometimes you're going to be doing unpleasant things, things like cleaning your space, paying bills, scheduling. Those really not fun, but really necessary logistical things that make your life run a little more smoothly. So some more examples of the acts of service, self-care, and self-love language would be setting boundaries for yourself. Another thing that's not super fun, but it's very, very necessary. Cleaning, like I said, writing in a planner, journaling, creating a budget for yourself, and completing your assignments on time. So this is more of a practical thing, but again, it's super duper necessary. And if you find that this is a cathartic way for you to participate in self-care and you feel like you're fulfilling that need, this is a really great way to do that. So the third self-love language is going to be receiving gifts. And this one is the one that just sounds so fun on paper. It's like, oh, treat yourself, get yourself a coffee, get yourself, the new outfit. But of course, to everything there is moderation, right? So this is the one that can kind of be misunderstood. It doesn't mean that you're going to be greedy or like a shopaholic. But if this is your self-love language, you know the value of treating and investing in yourself and into your life, right? So you can speak to your gift-loving, self-love language through things like I said, like buying yourself a coffee, going out to dinner, buying supplies for a new DIY or a new hobby. I do this all the time. So I personally really like to do like the receiving gifts self-love language. And personally, I like to paint. So buying new paints and new brushes and new canvases is kind of a way that I invest in that hobby. And it just gives me a little rush of dopamine. You know how it is? So the fourth self-love language is going to be quality time. So if your self-love language is quality time, this means that time is going to be your most valuable resource. So it's important for you to spend quality time with yourself and invest your time into your hobbies and passions. So this kind of goes into the receiving gifts, where you're going to be like prepping for these hobbies and these passions. Those can kind of go hand in hand. And I feel like for me, with the example I just gave, those two do go hand in hand, the receiving gifts and the quality time. So some ways that you can make the most out of your quality time with yourself. You can take yourself on a date. You can invest your time into the hobbies and the activities you like to do. You can spend time on just basically meditating or reading, just anything that you enjoy doing. And really, kind of lastly, the overarching theme of that is prioritizing your alone time when you need it. So if you're somebody who you can feel kind of your social battery draining, really setting that boundary and prioritizing, okay, I need to be alone for like this amount of time. I need to recharge. That in and of itself is self-care. And then finally, our final self-love language is words of affirmation. So people with the words of affirmation, self-love language, this one can be one of the most difficult. It is positive self-talk. It is reframing those negative thoughts and creating an internal monologue that is more optimistic and more positive and more strengths-based. So we can cultivate that by incorporating more words of affirmation into your life. So things like journaling, repeating positive daily affirmations, trying to practice mindfulness, focusing on the positive self-talk. Those are all ways that you can kind of invest in that self-love language. So I really hope that going through these has been helpful for you guys. And again, you can kind of mix and match it. Your self-care routine, it shouldn't be just like one thing that you do. I mean, you can invest in multiple things. And I'm sure that a lot of people like myself, I kind of feel like there are things that I really enjoy doing within all of these categories, but I do feel like I get different levels of enrichment and